Hi, we are going to learn just a little bit about the periodic table. For this video, you need to have a blank periodic table and you need to have 3 different colored pencils or 3 different colored highlighters or crayons, whatever, but we are going to be coloring the periodic table. All right, now, you know we learned about elements as being a pure substance, and so the periodic table is a table that arranges all of these elements. Now, a horizontal row on the periodic table is called a period, and the vertical row I might refer to as a group or even a family. These vertical rows, the ones that go up and down, they have very similar chemical properties. What we're going to learn is that the periodic table is divided into 3 groups: the metals, the metalloids, and the nonmetals. All right, so what I would like you to do is to color your periodic table. And so you can choose one color for the nonmetals. Notice the nonmetals here, they're in pink. They're over to the right of the periodic table. Okay, they're over here. All right, so carbon and then helium, but there is one nonmetal that's on the left-hand side of the periodic table, and that's hydrogen. So go ahead and make sure that you know that hydrogen is a nonmetal and color in all the nonmetals. So you may need to stop the video as you're doing this. All right, now, there's a separation line on the periodic table, and you can take a dark marker or a pen or something, but draw this staircase line in. And this is the line that separates these nonmetals from the metals on the periodic table. Now, along the line, these elements that are shaded in yellow, boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, and so forth, they are what we call metalloids, and they touch the line. So go ahead, choose a different color from the nonmetals and color in the metalloids. All right, now, as you can see, the majority of the periodic table, about 75% of it, are metals. And so go ahead and color in all of the metals. And that includes these 2 down here at the bottom, the lanthanides and the actinides. So go ahead and color in all of the metals. Okay, it's going to be important that you know that the metals are over here on the left and that the nonmetals are on the right and the metalloids are on the staircase line. So let's learn about the metals, the nonmetals, and the metalloids. So let's talk about physical properties, all right? So usually the nonmetals have a dull appearance. They are not good conductors of electricity or of heat. Compared to the metals, they have low melting points, and at room temperature, they can be solids, liquids, or gases. The chemical properties, the way they react, is they like to gain electrons, and we're going to talk a lot about this. All right, it's important that you know these physical properties of the nonmetals. All right, the physical properties of the metals. They have luster, they're shiny. Most of the metals are just kind of a grayish solid at room temperature, and they can start to look dull when they oxidize in the air. They are good conductors of heat and electricity. They have high melting points. They're malleable. That's a physical property of metals, which means that you can kind of mold them or you can bend them into another shape. And they're ductile, which means you can draw them into wires. Their chemical properties, they can lose electrons easily to form cations, and they corrode easily. All right, what about these metalloids? They're found along that staircase portion. They're between the metals and the nonmetals, and that's because they have properties of both metals and nonmetals. So remember, the metals were conductors, the nonmetals were non-conductors. The metalloids are semiconductors. Under some conditions, they will conduct electricity. All right, so that's what I wanted you to do in that video. The next video, we're going to look at some common groups and families on the periodic table. But for now, be sure to know where the metals are, the nonmetals, and the metalloids. So if I named an element, you should be able to classify them as a metal, nonmetal, or a metalloid, and you should know the physical properties of metals and nonmetals.